Hello everyone and welcome back to This is Real Life. I'm your host Sheri and today is another exciting episode of DIY Wednesday. What are we gonna tackle today? I'll tell you. I was on potterybarn.com and they have this super cute wall hanging made from fake succulents. Fake succulents look damn near like real succulents. That's what makes this wall hanging look so cool. I was on potterybarn.com, saw this, so cute, and then I was like, oh yeah, that looks really cool. Oh, wait a minute, Pottery Barn. You're asking $1.99 to $2.69 for some fake succulents, hot glued. I'm sure you didn't hot glue it, but glued in some sort of fashion into a frame? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. While the succulents might be super high quality, I don't really think fake succulents in low quality look that bad. So I figured I could make that. I say that an awful lot to myself. Like I'll be at the Home Goods or online and I'll see something that looks really cool and then I'll want to buy it and I'll look at the price tag and I'll be like, oh hell no, I could make that. So that's what we're doing today. We're doing a DIY Wednesday, I can make that. And we're gonna make this Pottery Barn thing. They have two sizes. There's a 16.5 by 16 by 8 inches thick, and that's the one that they're asking $1.99 for. The larger one is 20 by 30, so it's a rectangle, and that's the one they're asking for $2.69. Both prices are fucking ridiculous. So we're gonna make the perfect square one, the 16 by 16, and see if we can do it for cheaper, which I already know we can't, because there's no way we're making this for $200. We're gonna make it for $50 or less, hopefully for less. I'm thinking the frame I could build with just the crap I have around in my garage. So I have plywood and I have this extra like side wood, and that's what we're gonna make the frame from. And then we'll take it all inside and hot glue some succulents. So I have my plywood that was just scrap plywood over on the side of my garage, and I have my circular saw, I have my measuring tape, and my ruler, and my pencils, and then I have this little gem here that is a recycle from a Halloween costume that I made where I was the painter that paints the happy little trees. I was him one year, and then this is an easel that held my painting. So I'm gonna recycle this because I think this would be a good frame for the base. While the measurements on Pottery Barn are 16 by 16, I need to cut my base wood a little larger to accommodate these legs I'm gonna recycle. If you can picture it, the base will be a little larger so that I can set this on top and then nail it in from the bottom so you don't see that. I have to allow for that because if I cut this 16 by 16 and then put this on top, the inside measurement would be smaller, and I'm trying to make it exactly like Pottery Barn because I don't want anybody saying, well, yours ended up being cheaper because it was smaller. That's not what we're doing. We're doing an I can make that that's exactly as exact as we can get it for cheaper, not $1.99 plus shipping and tax and handling and all that crap that Pottery Barn charges. I know that this wood is basically a 1/2 inch thick. So I need to add a 1/2 inch to the right, a 1/2 inch to the left, a 1/2 inch to the top, and a 1/2 inch to the bottom. An inch and an inch. So instead of 16 by 16, I am going to make a 17 by 17 square of plywood for my base. 17, 17, 17, and then go this way, 17. That's done. I'm gonna take my ruler and I'm gonna connect my dots. And the reason why I brought out the big guns today is because I need it to be perfectly straight. 17 by 17. So now we can cut. Okay, so I'm ready to cut. Every time I use this little guy when I'm cutting wood, I am always afraid I'm gonna cut right into my sawhorses underneath. So pro tip, make sure your sawhorses are not where your cut line is, so you don't run into them. Also, make sure your cord is out of the way. So I am going to line up my pencil line with the little groove and the blade of this, and we're gonna make one quick cut. That's it. It's easy. Don't be intimidated by this. I'll show you. There's a nice little handle right here for your hand, and then another handle here with the trigger. Get all stable, get lined up, get this plate flush with the wood, press the trigger, go. It's that easy. You don't have to be scared. So here we go. My line is lined up in the little groove of the plate, and we're gonna cut. Cut one, done. Okay, so I've rotated my plywood so that I can cut like this. And now we're gonna cut two, and that's it. We have the base done. Line it on up and go. Done. Okay, so now we have our square cut. It is 17 by 17. Damn, we're perfect. I took apart my Halloween costume easel. It was only 4 screws, so I just unscrewed those so I could get these legs. Each leg, thankfully, is 38 inches long. I just at most need 17 inches, so 17 and 17 is 34. Yeah, 34. Ha! Who knew I could do quick math in my head? So 38 on each leg, well, it should get me 4 legs. I am gonna do the 2 sides at the full length, and then the top and the bottom will fit on the inside of these 2 boards. So I know I need 2 17-inch cuts out of this long piece of wood here. I'm gonna measure this at 17. Connect those dots. And we're still gonna use the big guns because I don't feel like getting out the jigsaw. So this will go super fast. The only problem with little short pieces is you don't have a line to line up in the little cutout section of the plate, so you just kind of lean your head over. And I would say wear safety goggles, especially since you're going to be like this and sawdust is flying up in your face, but my safety goggles are my glasses, so don't you worry. One 17-inch piece done, and that's gonna go right here. Ooh, look it. Ha ha, Pottery Barn. Suck it. Okay, next one. Now, we know this is a 1/2 inch, and we know this is a 1/2 inch. We know the board is 17, so basically we're taking off 1 inch. My top and bottom is gonna be 16 inches, but let's just double check because I would hate to cut it at 16 and then it'd be too short or it'd be too long. And the inside, oh. See, good thing I didn't cut it at 16. The inside measurement is 15 and a half. How'd that math work out? Interesting. Yep. Yeah. Okay. 15 and a half, you say. That's what we'll do. What I really love is I was like, oh, I'm so smart. I already know that the inside measurement's going to be 16. Good thing we measured to double make sure. 15 and a half is going to be my top and bottom cuts. So 15 and a half. I'm going to cut this one and then make sure it fits before I cut the second one. I don't have a lot extra of this board and I don't want to mess it up. Considering I'm already a 1/2 inch smaller than the Pottery Barn one, god damn it. I don't really know how that happened, but it happened. So here's our top or bottom piece. So we've got an edge, right and a left, and then this will fit on the inside. So see how weird? It's a little short. There's the gap. So here's the mistake I made. So when I was inside measuring it, I put this little thing, it was on the inside of my board, and then I measured out 15 and a half. But when I actually measured my wood, I stuck this on the outside of my board and then marked it at 15 and a half. That was the mistake. We need to make sure this edge of this measuring tape is lined up with the edge of my wood so we don't get this one short. Oh, that's money. Okay, so we pretty much finished completely, making the frame for our succulent wall hanging for free. So far, we're out $0. But I would guess if you had to buy this, I feel like these boards are $2 for a really long piece. Probably a little piece of plywood because you don't have to buy a giant sheet of it. But anyways, we're at $0. Let's put this thing together. Okay, so super full disclosure, I did end up recutting the really short one that I totally fucked up on the first cut. I didn't want to put wood filler in and I wanted everything to be nice and snug. So since I did still have spare wood from the Halloween costume easel, I went ahead and recut a piece for the bottom. So now everything is nice and snug and square and it all looks great because we want this Pottery Barn quality. We're gonna make it Pottery Barn quality. So now I'm gonna build this, and I went in the house, in the laundry room, and got my all-purpose adhesive because I'm gonna put a bead of glue on here so that it stays in place while I nail it. And I'm using my nails from my Valentine's Day string art DIY. So again, I'm still in it for $0 for the base. We're still a far cry away from $1.99. Ha, Pottery Barn. Okay, so let's build this. So we're taking it to the floor so that I can glue and nail. So what have we done so far? We've cut our base. In an attempt to make this at 16 by 16, exactly the measurements of the one that I saw on potterybarn.com, I cut my bottom board at 17 by 17. Then I just quickly measured the width of the frame. I just set it right here and I said, oh, it's a 1/2 inch. But in real life, it's over a 1/2 inch. When I added an inch to my bottom board, I should have added 1 3/4 inches. Golden rule, pro tip, you've heard it from every single person. Measure twice, cut once. Well, I didn't do that. And now I'm paying the price. We're gonna have to make this look extra special because it's a 1/2 inch smaller than the one on potterybarn.com. I don't think Pottery Barn would have lowered the price any from $1.99, but we'll say that they lowered it to $1.89. I still think we can make this for less, way less than $1.89, Pottery Barn. And I say Pottery Barn with such disdain. I love Pottery Barn. They have some really cute stuff. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not a millionaire, so I can't buy anything from Pottery Barn unless it's on like super clearance sale, which this is not. And I also think that Pottery Barn is ridiculous in charging $1.99 to $2.69 for this wall art. It's insane. So that's why Pottery Barn gets it. Pottery Barn, that's why. Now that I've told the truth, because this is real life, and I didn't want to keep that from you, because I could have just said, hey, yep, it's 16 by 16, just like Pottery Barn's. It's not. It's 15.5. So I'm on the floor now, and I'm going to glue and nail this. I'm going to put a bead of glue on each piece to hold it there so that I can flip it over and nail from the bottom. And since I didn't go to the Lowe's and buy actual real life wood glue, we're using this sealant because it worked out so well on my table DIY. I'm just gonna do like a small bead of this, line it up on my edge. Some people might be like, oh, clamp it, let it dry for 24 hours. I'm sticking nails right into it, so we're not doing that. The glue's there not really to like hold this sucker together. It's just there because I only have one set of hands. Okay, so everything's all lined up on the edges and we're recycling our nails from our DIY. So, let me get to nailing. I've gotten all my nails in on the bottom. I did the corner corners so I could adjust. And then I did 3 on the long boards and only 2 on the short boards. I felt that's plenty. And I'm sure Pottery Barn is measuring the outside width. Our outside width is 17. So we're back on with Pottery Barn's measurements. So now what I want to do is I want to put a couple nails in the corners here from the long ends going into the short ends. And then I do have some cleanup to do. A little palm sanding might need to happen here. But first we're going to nail in the corners and get those extra secure. But so far, look at this, $0. Okay, so I've cleaned up all of my edges just by taking my saw and like squaring everything up. I'm pretty impressed with it. It looks really good. It looks nice and square. So I do want to put a little bit of wood filler in the corners before I sand it, just so I don't have any gaps. I just do wood filler with my finger. I kind of think that I want to stain it so it's a little darker, so there's walnutty against the greenery of the succulents. With wood filler, you just need a little bit and you just kind of smoosh it into the crevices. And then when you sand it, it makes the frame look like a smooth piece of wood with no gaps. I do have to sand the edges a little bit, like this one's a little bit off of that, but that's okay. When I glue in the cacti into this part of the wood, I can make it so that some trail and cover the corners so it hides any of the imperfections, which you know there won't be because more money and everything is perfect. We're gonna let this wood filler dry, and then I'm gonna bring out my sander and I'm gonna give it a sand. And then I really do think I'm gonna stain it, but I will look at the one on the Pottery Barn website and see if I can tell what they did or not and let you know. So you guys are gonna get a kick out of this. When I was referring back to the website to see like what color the frame was, I was like, oh, it kind of looks like oak. So then I was like, oh, let me read about it. Gardening made easy. Go vertical with this wall of faux succulents that are maintenance free and look just like the real thing. Okay, that's what got us on board. Small frame is made of MDF with an MDF backing and plastic succulents. So it's not even real wood. Seriously? So at least I've got a real, while it's the cheapest wood you can get, pine frame. It's certainly not MDF. Are you kidding me right now, Pottery Barn? And you want $200 for this? And they have the gall to use the word plastic. If you're charging $199 to $269 for something, I think that you should probably get a thesaurus and find another word other than plastic. Why? Why would I pay $199 to $269 for some MDF frame that's filled with a bunch of plastic shit? That doesn't even make any sense. It says MDF is an engineered wood that lends exceptional strength and ensures the product's structural integrity over time. Well, guess what? So does real wood. I have a deck in my backyard. It's made out of real wood, not MDF, and it's been there for 15 years. So I think I'm gonna stain this so that it's a color and not pine, is the point of my story. The other thing on the overview it says is that there's a keyhole backing for wall mounting. Mounting hardware included. Oh, thanks, Pottery Barn. You're gonna include the mounting hardware for $199 to $269? That's so sweet of you. Upon reading that, I was like, oh shit, mounting hardware, okay. Well, it just so happens that I have this. I don't know where I got it. Maybe the grocery store. I don't think the Dollar Tree. It's a 219 piece set of picture hanger stuff. While I might decide to set it like on a shelf, I don't know if I'm actually gonna hang it on a wall. I wanna be legit and include the picture hanging stuff. I know that they sell smaller ones of these at the Dollar Tree, so we're gonna call the picture hanging stuff $1. So far for the frame, we have spent $1. Technically, I personally have spent $0 because I've already had all of this stuff. But again, if you were to go out and buy it new, I'm gonna say it would cost $7, $8, no more than $10. No more than $10 for your base wood, your frame wood, your picture hanger stuff, and possibly stain if you choose to stain it. Or you could even paint this. So I have the wood filler in, I have my palm sander, so I'm gonna sand this all smooth and then I'm going to stain it and let it dry. Okay, now that we're all sanded and everything is like super smooth and super straight, it is looking hell's-a legit. This is nice. Pottery Barn, watch out. I have my stain, clearly I've used it. This is special walnut, and I am just going to use my old staining towel, and I'm just gonna rub stain on the edges real quick, outer and inner. I'm not gonna rub stain on the inside bottom because I don't know how the hot glue will adhere to not raw wood, but I'm gonna stain basically just the frame. Is this how you're supposed to open a paint can? No, I need a paint key, but I don't have one. I'm gonna use a screwdriver because the hammer was not working. So open this up. And what I love about stain is it dries hell's fast. The lighter you want it, the quicker you wipe it off. The darker you want it, the longer you leave it on before you wipe it off. Sometimes I just kind of wipe it on and wipe it off, see what it looks like, maybe do another layer. It's just all personal preference. So I'm gonna dip into, probably should get gloves on if you don't want to get stain on your hands. Normally I get stain on my hands, but it's not like it doesn't wash off. I do have disposable gloves somewhere. I'm in the midst. I can't stop to go find gloves, but look at how pretty that looks already. I just scrub it in, and then I just make sure that it gets into the like cracks and crevices. Ooh, this looks pretty. Pottery Barn, you and your MDF, give me a break. A professional stainer would be like, oh my God, that's so not the thing to do. I'm not a professional stainer, and this is real life, so. Man, this looks good. Oh, I love it. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep staining the outside and the inside of my frame. I'm not gonna stain this part. No one's gonna see the back. I mean, I guess I could stain the back, but no. Okay, so quick little thing, as I was going along staining the frame, which looks amazing. Holy moly. I decided I was going to stain the inside bottom. I'm gonna pack this sucker with succulents, but just in case there's a gap, I wanna have the darker wood showing through and not the plywood. Oh, damn, it looks legit. I'm just gonna make sure that I don't have any glops anywhere, and then I'm gonna let it dry completely. And then we'll take it in and start making magic. Okay, everyone, it is the exciting time where we are going to put this all together. My frame is done and stained, and I think it looks amazing. Much better than the MDF piece of crap that Pottery Barn is trying to pawn off on us for $199. So I was looking at the picture. So the succulents look like they're kind of up, like lifted up a little bit and not like set down in. There's dimension, like maybe some are low, maybe some are high. In order to achieve that look, I grabbed some Floral foam that I just had already from the Dollar Tree, but you can get this, I wanna say it's a 3-pack for $1. This clearly is not gonna be enough, so I scavengered around from some old projects. So I have a bunch of just old foam. While I don't think I need to fill the entire base, I might use the foam to lift some of the cactus a little bit up. It's not as full as I thought it was now on closer examination. There are gaps, and the gaps are filled in with this little moss stuff that you can also get at the Dollar Tree for $1. But you could do away with all of this and simply just glue right into here, and you would be fine, and then you could save $2. I'm at $0 right now because I had all of the wood and the stain and everything to make this in my garage. Let's say you didn't have those things, I still say you're at $10 for the frame and the foam and the moss. So let me tell you this. Over here, I have my cheapy faux succulents, and on this side, I have my expensive faux succulents. I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to do this project maybe a month ago. I went to the Michaels and I went to their little faux succulent. I mean, these suckers are gorgeous. But this one succulent alone is $15. When I started pulling out like, ooh, this one's good, and this one's good, and this one's good, just in succulents, I was at $75 from the Michaels. And I was like, ooh, $75 is not a good, I can make that price. Now, $75 is a far cry from $200, but still, I thought I could make it cheaper. So I put the project on hold. And then last weekend, I was at the Dollar Tree and I saw a box of succulents. These still look pretty good to me. They do have this weird little clip on them. Some of them do have sticks, just like the ones you see at the Michaels, but they were $1. I picked up these. I also wanted some smaller ones, and they had smaller ones in these little plastic pots that I just plan on ripping out. So I spent $20 on 20 succulents at the Dollar Tree, which I thought, oh my God, $20. And there's a lot, like there's a lot. 20 succulents is a lot. Look at all this. All of this is $20 worth of succulents, and we're like pretty full. Then I was like, oh, but I still need some really good ones, because if you look at the one from the Pottery Barn, they've got some big ones and some pretty cool looking ones. But when I counted it up, it was only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I thought, oh, I can go to the Michaels and I can get the good ones, just a little bit, and then fill in with my cheapies from the Dollar Tree. And it just so happened when I went to the Michaels, it was President's Day, and they were having 50% off all of their faux plant stuff. I got all of these, boom, for 50% off. I got 6, it cost me $22. Boom, from the Michaels. So I spent $20 at the Dollar Tree and $20 at the Michaels. We'll even say 23 if you want to say 23. In succulents, I spent $43, which I think is pretty good. And this cost me $0. But even if this cost you $10, you're at $53 when Pottery Barn is asking us to spend $199. See what can be done if you just put your mind to it. I was almost thinking there's gotta be something like online, like Fake Cactus R Us or something, where you could probably get them cheaper than the ones at the Michaels, but I thought 50% off was a pretty good deal. I did buy some Mondo ones that are gonna take up a lot of the room here. So all we have to do is glue all these in and then we'll be done. Before I start gluing everything in, I've got to get them off of their little weird sticks and whatnot. So I'm hoping, yeah, that was easy. Done. The clips might be a little bit harder to get off. Yep, they just rip right off. Some of them are hard. Some of them I might need to cut. Look at that. Oh, you know what I should do? Save the foam that's in here in case I want to add height. Yep, always thinking, Sheri, always thinking. So because I can't return any of these succulents to the Dollar Tree, I want to make sure I use them all first-ish, because I can return what I don't use to the Michaels. So I didn't cut off all of the stems of the Michaels ones yet. If we don't use them all, there's no sense in us keeping them. So right here I need some like spindly ones. So I got these to kind of mimic that one right there, that spidery looking one. So for sure I know I have to cut the stem off of this one because I'm definitely using it. In case you missed it in the fast forwarding of me taking off the Dollar Tree ones, sometimes you pull too hard and you pull the whole thing apart and then it comes apart and you gotta put it back together again. Once you just kind of make a divot in it with your scissors, you can just bend it and voila, it comes apart. We've got our 2 spindlies there, and then I'm thinking I'm gonna mimic a spindly with maybe a Dollar Tree one down in the corner. Then they've got a ginormous one right here. Is gonna be this guy from the Michaels. These Michaels ones, they're made well. Cut and bend, boom. Okay, this one's gonna go here-ish with that like that. Oh my gosh, we're already looking so good, Pottery Barn. And then they kind of have like a pretty one here. I think I'm gonna use all the ones from the Michaels because they're just really pretty. So I might as well just take all the bases off of these because it looks like I'm using them. My plan of attack is get my big ones glued in and then fill in with little ones. We're gonna just glue. We're just gonna start. Stop talking, get going. Okay, so I've only glued like 3 down, but here's what I decided. The first one, to give it height, I cut a little square of foam and then glued the foam to the board and then glued the succulent to the top of the foam. The second one, I just put hot glue right on the bottom of the succulent. I had to hold it there for a while so it didn't tip down. This one, I did a little square of foam, glued the foam to the bottom of the succulent and then glued the foam down to the base, and that seems to work pretty well. So depending on the bottoms of the succulent, this one, since it's so pokey, I'm gonna end up gluing this to foam and then gluing it down. I might only just need to cover a little bit of moss and then you can see the wood through, which I think would be cool. But I plan on packing this shit, so you're probably not gonna see anything. I'm literally looking at the picture and I'm trying to pick the best match and place it where I can see that it would go. That's what I'm doing. I've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in here already, and it's already looking amazing. So I'm gonna keep going, looking at the picture, finding a match, gluing it down. Just until we're done. So the gluing down of all the cacti was pretty tedious. It took a little bit of time. However, I was watching a Lifetime movie about Aaliyah, so it probably took longer than it needed because I was very drawn to the Lifetime movie. But that's beside the point, because I have almost everything glued down and it looks amazing. The only thing I have left are my little danglies. So you have to picture this hanging on a wall and these would be like dangling kind of down. Gluing onto little square blocks of styrofoam was really, really helpful. It lets you just put everything in place. You can high and low some, give it some dimension. So I'm gonna glue some of these in to the little gaps and then shove in some of the reindeer moss to hide some of the foam. Then it will look exactly like the Pottery Barn one. That's all I have to do and then it will be done. Yay! Okay, so I finished gluing in my danglies and now I am going to shove the reindeer moss into some of the gaps where the wood is showing because we want it to look like our succulents are real and not plastic. Pottery Barn. So I'm gonna just use a stick from one of the cacti and I'm gonna shove it down. I'm not gluing it in or anything like that. It's not like I'm gonna turn it upside down, so I don't think it will fall out. So I'm just gonna fill in. Oh my gosh. That looks really, really good. All right, let me clean it up a little and then I'll show you the final results. So here was the inspiration. The Pottery Barn succulent wall art that looks pretty awesome. I mean, it really does look badass. But let's not forget, our friends at the Pottery Barn wanted us to buy that for $199. I mean, I'll give it to Pottery Barn. That looks pretty good, Pottery Barn. But $199? Look what we made. Oh, snap. That looks amazing. I am completely impressed. Ours looks amazing. I'm gonna go with ours looks better than Pottery Barn's, to be quite honest. I think ours is a little bit more full, not to mention ours is made from actual real wood and not MDF. I don't think anybody wouldn't think that we didn't buy this from Pottery Barn because it looks so fucking legit. And the best part is we did not even come close to spending $199 plus shipping and handling and tax and whatnot. We made it ourselves. And what did we spend? I spent $0 on the frame because I had all the materials in my garage already. But we're gonna pretend I didn't, and we're gonna call the frame a $10 frame for the wood, the nails, and whatnot to make it. Then I went to the Michaels, and I did get a good deal on my succulents. As you know, they were 50% off, and I spent $23.75, and that includes tax. Then at one stop at a Dollar Tree, I bought 6 succulents. That totaled $6.48. And then my last stop at the Dollar Tree is gonna be a little harder for me to figure out because I purchased other items, 13, 14, 15 succulents. I'm just gonna put in $15. That one's not gonna get taxed. Sorry, because I can't figure it out. Now mind you, Pottery Barn wants $199 plus shipping and handling and tax for this. It's gorgeous, it is gorgeous, but we made it $55.17. And in real life, I only spent $45.17 because I made my frame for free, which you probably can too. So $45.17. Oh, don't forget, okay, add another $1 in for this and the reindeer moss. So you're at $57 or $47. Let's just call it a fucking even $50. $50. $50. That's a quarter of the price that Pottery Barn is asking. We made it, and ours looks better. If you really want to be honest, Pottery Barn, ours looks better, and it only took us 1 day to make. So it just goes to show you, you may be like me and you may say to yourself every time you're at a store and you see something badass but super expensive, I could make that. The point is, you can. Depending on what the actual thing is made out of, you might be able to make it with very little skill at all. This was made out of, we're gonna call it wood. They made the frame out of MDF, and it's faux succulents hot glued into a thing. When you break it down like that, why wouldn't you make it? I mean, it's crazy not to. That's my challenge to you. You've seen something out there online in some department store that looks really cool and is too expensive, and when you break it down into a simple form, if it's just a wood frame and whatever glued onto whatever or painted in whatever, and you can make it, go home and fucking make it, dude. For a quarter of the price? What have you got to lose? Most likely you're gonna end up with something amazing. And this is no like, oh, I made this from shit from the Dollar Tree and then it looks like it's a bunch of shit from the Dollar Tree. This does not look like that at all. This looks hell's a high end. I'm impressed. And Pottery Barn can suck it. And here it is, dun 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 dun. I'm climbing in the bathtub because I decided that I was going to hang it over my towel rack. I think it looks hell's amazing. And if anybody ever comes into my master bathroom, they're gonna be like, damn, I saw that on Pottery Barn. That shit was expensive. I didn't know Sheri rolled like that. And then I will say, I don't roll like that. I DIY'd the shit out of this Pottery Barn thing and I only spent $45. All right, everyone. That was another DIY Wednesday. Thank you so much for watching. If you did like this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Be sure to share this video with your family and friends. And as always, thanks for hanging out.